Chishiya was one of the fan favourites. He and RC had the biggest impact in completing the games from Borderland and sending everyone home. We saw Chishiya clear games with ease, constantly amazing us with his critical thinking. His performance in King of Diamonds game was pure brilliance, especially when he broke down exactly why the last woman would choose number 62. But what if instead of deadly games, he played children games? Would he clear those games as well? That's the topic of today's video. How would he clear all these games if he was to play in Squid Games? In my honest opinion, he would only struggle with one game and all the others he'll clear them with ease. The main difference between Squid Game and Alice in Borderland is that Squid Game involves a high degree of luck and randomness, whereas Alice in Borderland features strict rules with every game built on a logical structure that guarantees its solvability. Nonetheless, even if there's more luck involved, the Squid Game challenges are far easier than the ones featured in Alice in Borderland. The Alice games are more brutal, deadlier, and if Chishiya survived those, he would most certainly survive all of the Squid Game challenges. One big discussion that always come up with these questions is the idea that Chishiya doesn't excel in physical games, but I think that underestimates him. He's proven his agility and quick reflexes dodging bullets from a machine gun in a confined space in the 5 of Spades games is literally proof enough. And honestly, there's no real comparison between the Spades game in Alice in Borderland and the challenges in Squid Game. If the Squid Game task existed in Borderland, they'd be rated an ace in terms of ease. Surviving the deadliest Spades game shows that he's more capable of handling anything Squid Game could throw at him. Gihan may have won the competition twice, but when you compare the two, Chishiya has all stronger overall qualities in nearly every domain except kindness. Some argued he loses because his strength lies in intelligence over brute force, but that ignores the fact he's never been physically weak. Add his talent for manipulation and the already less demanding physicality of Squid Game compared to Borderland, and it's clear he adapt and excel. Red light, green light would be no problem for Chishiya. The main difficulty in a challenge is the shocking realization that you can actually die while playing what appears to be a children's game. Chishiya would clear it without even taking his hands out of his jacket. Straightforward and simple. The reason is that he never truly cared whether he lived or died, so he wouldn't panic and run wildly when the killing started. This attitude would make him calm and rational, and he wouldn't flinch at the sound of a gunfire. After seeing Il Na freely move, realizing that all you need to do is follow the rules, he had no problem with surviving. If Sung-woo could figure out the doll was a motion sensor and that hiding behind a larger person would help avoid detection, you can certain Chishiya would figure that out too. Moving on to the Diagonal game, this would be easy for Chishiya as well. First of all, he's highly observant and always takes his time to notice every detail related to the game right from the start. Even if he picked the umbrella shape, he wouldn't rush to carve it out. Instead, he'd wait and watch how the other players tackle the challenge. Taking his time, he would spot Jiyeon licking the Diagonal and quickly apply the same strategy. Honestly, I think he might even discover the trick on his own before seeing anyone else doing it. Regarding the next game, this is where some people say he would meet his end, but I disagree. The next challenge is tug of war, and for this one, Chishiya would team up with Yaps and his crew. We saw a similar scenario in Alice in Borderland when Chishiya joined the beach and became one of the executors, despite having far fewer days in the Borderland compared to the others. If Chishiya could manipulate both Hoda and Naguni, then manipulating Jisuk's gang to join the team wouldn't be a problem. Jisuk, realizing Chishiya's immense potential, would accept him in order to benefit from his intelligence. Before the tug of war match, Sung-woo concluded that a team of only men had the highest probability of winning. If Sung-woo can figure that out, you can best sure that Chishiya would as well. That's why he would align with Jisuk's gang and clear the third game without any trouble. For the marbles game, I don't think much explanation is needed. This would probably be the easiest challenge for him. As for the glass bridge, many argue that this game is too random and luck dependent for Chishiya to reliably win, but I disagree. Remember, the first game we saw Chishiya play, it was the 5 of Spades game, a deadly game in a motel where players had to find a safe room, avoiding a killer with a machine gun. Before that game began, Chishiya's first move was to go to the top floor and observe everyone from there. Before the glass bridge, players must pick a number while most rushed to grab the middle numbers. The first and last position were left over. Chishiya wouldn't join the rush if the choice came down to the first or last position. He'd likely pick the last, mirroring his approach in the 5 of spades game. And as we saw, being among the last to cross almost guarantees survival. So yes, Chishiya wouldn't have any trouble clearing the 5th challenge either. Now for the Squid Game itself. Here's why I think he'll win this too. When people discuss this game, they often fall back on the argument that Chishiya isn't physically strong enough for a 1-on-1 fight. But here's the problem. The actual challenge is not to kill the other player, it's to reach the top of the squid's head by hopping on one foot, then running to tap their head while the defender tries to stop you. There's no killing required. Gihan and Sangwoo fought because it was the most straightforward way to eliminate the opponent, but Chishiya could easily adopt Gihan's strategy. Once the opponent is blinded or distracted, he could rush to finish the game. The Squid Game is more about deception and strategy than raw physical strength, exactly the kind of situation where Chishiya excels. So no, he wouldn't have any problem clearing this game either. Season 1 would be a walk in the park for Chishiya, but what about Season 2 or 3? Would anything major change? For the first challenge, things will stay exactly the same as in the first scenario we discussed. For the second challenge, realistically he might struggle with a few games in the 6-legged race simply because they're Korean childhood games and he's Japanese. However, as we saw in the show, a surprisingly high number of teams managed to pass this challenge. This big advantage is that the players could choose beforehand the game they felt most confident in clearing. With the exception of Gongi, I think the other games are relatively easy. If I had to guess, I'd say Chishiya would most likely choose the card flip challenge. Let me know in the comments which game you think he would most likely be suited for. Regarding the mingle game, I don't think this would pose much challenge to Chishiya at all. He's extremely adaptable. And the most difficult part of this challenge is the need for quick thinking and fast reaction in order to gather the required number of plays for each round. Chishiya has demonstrated this exact traits multiple times in Alice in Borderland. Now the only game I think Chishiya might struggle is with the hide and seek challenge, regardless what teams he is on. I believe it would be much easier for him as a red player since he wouldn't hesitate to kill another contestant, especially if we take into account his manga character. The only real difficulty for him in the role would be finding a target. If he played as a blue contestant, however, the difficulty would increase exponentially, no matter how cunning or strategic you are. The blue players are at a serious disadvantage. Not only do they need to survive the full 30 minutes of facing armed opponents, but even if they locate the exit door, they still need all 3 taps or keys to unlock it, information that was deliberately withheld from the guards. One point in Chishiya's favour, even as a blue player, is that he already survived the far more dangerous games in the Borderland. If he managed to find a way to stay alive through those, we can expect he might still find a solution here. Still, I believe this would be the only game to truly challenge him. Now, regarding the 5th game, you already know my opinion on it. I don't think it really deserves to be the penultimate challenge of his competition, so I'll keep it brief. Given the high number of plays he managed to pass this game, I strongly believe Chishiya would complete this game with ease as well. After all, even player 100 was able to jump off the rip for a couple minutes without any difficulty. As for the final game, this is manipulation at its finest, exactly where Chishiya shines. We saw how Mayong manipulated the players, and if he could pull it off, then Chishiya certainly could too. Without plot armor, this game would most likely have multiple winners, and Chishiya would have been one of them. So, as we've seen, Chishiya would have no real problem clearing all of the Squid Game challenges, even if they involve more randomness and luck. Not only did he survive until the end of Alice in Borderland, but he played one of the biggest roles in clearing the games, especially the face card challenges. I honestly don't think anyone else could have been the King of Diamonds without him. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you agree that Chishiya could clear all the Squid Game challenges without ever taking his hands out of his pocket. So that's it for today's video. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and yeah, that's it. Dribzy Yaps out. Peace.